Hola Madridistas. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. You guys know the drill. If you're new here, don't forget to smash the likes and subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 2K. I believe less than 40 from 2K, so make it happen, people. Part of this Sibelius celebration is probably us, getting to 2K as well. Good omens, heading into probably the defining 3 weeks of the season. Defining not so much in terms of, our league standing or what we are going to basically achieve in the league. It's done and dusted, has been for a while. And yeah, man, Granada, like, where should I begin with Granada, right? Like, growing up watching us face Granada was always a nerve-wracking experience. It wasn't necessarily because they were always the most difficult team to beat, was just the fact that it used to be some sort of a tricky opponent, especially the Mourinho years. I believe Granada has given us a few scares here and there, but it hasn't been, for a long, long time. I think we have gotten the bet with them, in the last 15 occasions. That's a maddening stat. Like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly how many years they were in the second, and then, then they came back recently. But Carlo did the right thing. Carlo did what he promised, rotated heavily, and gave the French players a run out. And it feels good, isn't it, Jacob? Sit back, watch, the B team players take center stage. Like what you said in the group chat, does this really take you back to 16-17's glorious, Zidane's B team?
Well, it isn't, the star-studded B team that we had
Yeah,
last time.
yeah,
Those players could start at any big club, right? We don't have
yeah,
those sort of players all at all the positions, but still, it's a very dependable B team. Especially this La Liga season, where the other teams haven't really, set it on fire, at least in the later part of the season. So we
yeah.
should be grateful for actually these guys getting the job done. And today they turned it up in the style. Granada were nowhere to be found, understandably so, because they learned that they were relegated, and they just couldn't get their morale up. They look gas tired even after the first half. So yeah, good job well done. Nothing else to say.
Massive respect to Granada, for the Pasillo, God of Honor at the beginning of the game. I like just imagine being in their position, getting relegated without even kicking a ball. With the Las Palmas result, if I believe,
It's a Mallorca
um,
result. Yeah.
Mallorca result against Las Palmas, right? That kind of sealed their fate. Sad, but you see, like, even I think the Real Madrid socials, we kind of thank them for the God of Honor, and we're kind of wishing, to hoping to see them back in La Liga very soon. That was a very nice touch. Yeah, pleasantries aside, we started the game like, it was a house on fire. Um, you could see, right? Human emotions are pretty crazy, right? It's hard to really judge what would be going through, an average Granada social minds, but um, the stadium was up for it, right? Like, they were ready to send the team down to Segunda, chanting, singing, creating an atmosphere. It was sold out. It was a sold out, packed home ground. But then we slowly started to take control, and then the voices waned, the enthusiasm waned, and yeah, eventually the Granada players just stopped trying, and it's testament to us, testament to basically have enough humility and enough self-respect, and also respect towards Granada. Guys like Brahim didn't take the foot off the pedal. Was absolutely phenomenal. Is this guy some sort of a huge case for probably being the most underrated player in Spain right now, Jacob?
And I feel like that honor has to goes to Joselu. But yeah, Brahim technically
We'll get to Hostel. I have a few words to speak about Hostel.
Yeah,
But yeah,
just
let me
trying too
focus on
much.
Bright. Mm,
Yeah, a lot of
mm,
love for Brahim, man. I feel like he's the one player in the team that can actually dribble the entirety of the opposition, get to the ends of the box, and still have the, uh, the calmness and the composure to actually finish the chance. And he really showed that today. He's been showing that constantly throughout the season. Huge player. He's absolutely well warranted. Like he's getting called as Messi light. He is actually Messi light.
He is Messi light, right? But it's hard for me to utter those words. It's very hard, right? But I get the comparison. I get the the plot. It's very deserved, like you say. What Brahim always, like I would reiterate what I've been saying all throughout the season and even pre-season. I really believed in this kid. I really believed that what I saw, at Milan, few people, including you, disagreed, like he was inconsistent. I would agree to it to a certain point as well, but he had a large role to play, like I've always mentioned, in Milan's somewhat resurgence in the last 3 4 years, and um, he is surely a character, right? Like how many games have you really seen Brahim go missing? It's very few, Jacob. It's very few. Like even in games where he doesn't really look quite on it, he has a decisive, couple of minutes where he, just turns the game. And that for me is a very underrated trait to have. You know, you can look as flashy as you can, or you can look as um, skillful as you can be on a day where everything is going smoothly. But when you're personally, individually having a bad game, and you still have the desire to chase lost causes, force the issue, man, Brahim is a sure shot personality, a great addition to the side. And people are just naive. Like I've seen some outrageous takes where they say, um, how does Brahim get into a side that would have Mbappe, Endrick, Vini, and Rodrigo? I mean, it's a fair question when you look at it on paper, right? Like no one would really give Brahim a prayer. But Jacob, isn't there a very solid reasoning behind Brahim's inclusion into this team? And in my personal belief that he will have a long stay at Madrid. Like even as a fringe player, this man is a sure shot hit.
And I don't think he's going to be a fringe player, especially in the
Mm,
coming season. Let's look at the
mm,
reality, right? We don't have a lot of
yeah.
attacking depth, even if we sign
Mm,
Mbappe and Endrick. Endrick, he's not going to start every game. We're going to be very careful with him, similar to how we went with GÜLER. He might not even play for the first team in the first season. We don't know, and so that leaves us with three attackers. And I feel like the first player off the bench is going to be Brahim, in order to give these guys some rest, in order to insert some attacking urgency. So I believe he has an important role to play next season.
you know what? I would disagree with the Endrick thing, because I used to think similarly, like what you just mentioned, that Endrick would be a very slow process in kind of incorporating in him incorporating in incorporating him into the first team, right? Like it'd be a very slow, steady process. But sources and like what some of the people who are very well versed inside, breaking down the cues that the club give out, week in week out. It seems like Hendrik will have much more minutes than Arda Güler did. And I still believe that Arda Güler, if not for his recurring injury and his his initial kind of impression that kind of gave an outlook, oh, he's made of glass kind of thing, probably played against him, played against his fortunes in getting minutes. But I do think with Endrick and the way he is looking built, the way he is kind of moving week in week out, I think he'll have a better role to play. But then again, even Rodrigo might be on the fringes. It's crazy. That's how deep it is. Like I know you have a very valid point when you say that the uh, the depth in attacking quality would be not as big as one might expect. But still, if we stick to a diamond, Vini and Mbappe starts up top. that's the root point. But yeah, brilliant pass to Modric, which kind of takes a deflection, lands at the feet of Fran. We'll get to Fran, who again I believe was having a good game. And the second goal as well of Brahim, basically like taking a swivel and basically sending two defenders the other way. Um, he just has this composure in tight spaces that would basically remind him of Messi. Like I completely understand the comparison. Um, but then again, when Brahim just looks the part of a player who is determined to prove people wrong, determined to stake a claim in this side. And even in the Champions League, when he has come on, he has looked like a player who is on a mission, and I love that very reason. Probably the club looked at him and brought him back, because scouting would have definitely told stuff about Brahim where he isn't the most consistent, he isn't the most reliable in terms of playing under pressure, but this guy is just paying out, man, paying out big time. Let me get to a few of the comments quickly. Ashik was mentioning, what a nail biter. Thankfully, Ceballos, the great, bailed us out. Ceballos again had a decent game. Jacob, right? Like if you want to quickly say a couple of words, because you know me, I don't speak much about Ceballos.
No, you have to in this game.
Go on.
So yeah, he was the most tenacious midfielder out there. He was the one pressing the most high up.
Yeah.
He had some really quick touches. He always seemed like he wanted to make things happen from midfield, even deep, which caused him to like take a few risks, which I didn't like. That actually kept me on the edge of my seat. Like some of the Ceballos back passes, like they almost found a Granada player. And but that could be said of most players today. I feel like a lot of these guys did a couple of mistakes, but then in the end, our quality just won us over.
100%. Like I remember once the BIOS incident where he just basically out maneuvered like four guys trying to steal the ball of him. I think it was on the left hand side of our attack, and that just showed me stuff that I remembered from when Ceballos was touted to be the next big thing, because I was a huge admirer of Dani Ceballos and what he brought to the pitch, and hopefully he can move on and look for minutes elsewhere, man, because he is 27. Like imagine you're 27, you're paid good bucks, you're part of the Madrid setup, but getting 2 full games in a year, it's gonna fucking drive you nuts, man. Like I don't
speaking
get
of
the motivation.
Ceballos, I believe Saul also came onto the scene at the same time. At the time, Saul was touted to be the better talent. But do you think Saul has had a way better career than Ceballos so far?
In terms of season-altering moments, season-defining moments, it has to be Saul.
Yeah.
You remember the goal against Bayern?
Yeah, he's been hugely important for the team. I feel like everywhere Ceballos goes, he hasn't been like the guy to actually marshal the midfield.
Yeah. And his stint in the Premier League had his highs, but it definitely was also marked by quite few big lows for Ceballos. But yeah, he never really quite lived up to his potential. Ricardo was mentioning, I really hope we keep Brahim and GÜLER next season. They play with so much determination and effort. Brahim specifically reminds me of Messi with the way he dribbles. 100%. He also mentions, I have a feeling if Thibaut is up to what Carlo presumes match sharpness, he may start the final, which I think would be a huge slap on the face balloon. I've been saying this and people were on to me. Ricardo, I hope you saw the Bayern post-match and people wanted me crucified. As a fan, I just want to win that trophy, though. 100%. Man, I would definitely, want to win the trophy. Although I would be, super nervous, cautious, like I always am in the Champions League. But the Lunin equation just doesn't sit right with me. Might win as a trophy, but then Lunin would really look back at this year and think those guys did be dirty. Really.
Man, like I feel like he'll understand, man. Like when you're standing deputy for the best goalkeeper in the world,
Obviously, like, do
he
you
will
like? I don't
understand.
expect him to.
Yeah, but we have
I
to
don't
look at
expect him.
the reality, man. Like, let's say Courtois in these next 3 games shows peak
Yeah,
performances. He never has a mistake in him. I would be confident of starting him in the final. Like you were mentioning in the
yeah.
preview, that what if Courtois actually makes a mistake and he's not match up? But that
Yeah.
same could be said about Lunin. Like he has a shaky moments too a lot of the time. And if Courtois shows
Yeah.
that he can actually start the final, I feel like we should go ahead with it.
Lurin has the shaky moments, and I've been very, very, I've been very proactive in really pointing it out because I don't have a partiality apart from when it comes to Rodrigo. That's the only guy like I would, you know, really have a bias towards. But the Lunin situation, like especially in the last couple of months, last 2.5 months, yes, he has had his shaky moments, but in general, he has been super solid,
And like
very solid.
just
Like
look
I
at
don't.
the City first leg. Like he basically caused the first goal. In the second or third goal, he could have done a bit better. We were pointing about his position and everything, and I feel like if Courtois is in top form, he can actually save those and can be the actual difference maker. I feel like this is kind of like a decision that Barca would make, all depending on emotions. We owe something to the player, but that's not Real Madrid. We just want to go out and win, make sure we take no chances. And I feel like if it comes to that, it has to go to Courtois if he's match fit. Of course, it'll depend on the next 3 games, but it'll weigh heavily on
I
Carlos' mind.
completely, I completely agree with the first goal. Like he should have really be shouting to Vinny or whoever it was to basically cover that angle. But I don't know, man. In general, I've been super happy with Lunin.
I am too,
His general.
but I'm sure I'll be more happier with Courtois.
There you go. There you go. That's the general consensus. But yeah, probably a very 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 opinionated opinion from my side because I really root for guys like Lonan because he deserves all the limelight he would get, especially if he wins the Champions League. And I would resonate what Ika said, that I put in the comment for the preview. Lonan has something to prove where Thibaut is the best goalkeeper in the world. He doesn't really have much to prove in a final. He already did that, being the man of the match against Liverpool. Um, but yeah, she was mentioning when Real comes to town, it's always sold out. Everyone wants to see the club of dreams, 100%. We need to talk about Ceballos as well. What a performance! He was a magician, and like a magician, he managed. Okay, you had me in the first half, Ashik. Not gonna lie. Ashik was also mentioning Messi couldn't even shine Mariano's boots. Mariano won 2 Champions League titles. It was effortless for him. Right, I'm gonna stop it right there and talk about GÜLER, Jacob. Um, when he started, showing us signs of promise, we knew that there was something, bubbling underneath. And yeah, he's not the best defensively, but I saw glimpses of what a little more positional, adaptation and basically just improving positionally how much he can be a difference maker. If you remember, there was an instance, he basically sprints all the way back, basically puts in a slide tackle to, save a, um, save a, a high percentage shot being, unleashed by Granada. But talk to me, GÜLER. Nice finish. Had some very good moments, especially the combination. GÜLER, Luka, Kamavinga, Brahim was on point. Some of the best football I think we have played in phases this season.
Yeah, like say what you will, but Granada did make it kind of easy. But this was Güler's
Yeah,
game.
100%.
This is Güler's game. He was the one making things happen. When he was on the ball, you could always see that killer pass coming. He was trying to do something different. At the same time,
Yeah.
he sometimes he was trying a bit too much. He rushed some of his passes. You remember right before the goal, like he had a breakthrough. He won the ball off of Granada. He ran through, but then he just couldn't find Joselu. It was easy tap in if he had actually found Joselu. So I feel like that will come with time, man. Once he knows.
Oh
then,
yeah. Like that he should have just waited a bit more or just went for goal. Yeah, he took it too early.
Yeah, that those are the things that a player does when they want to impress everyone so much. They don't have a lot of game time, so they look to impress as much as possible in the minutes that they get. And so when he finds the confidence and when he gets more minutes, I feel like these parts of him will like vanish. He'll be more composed. He has shown that he has the vision and the ability to pick players out. So yeah, just want to see more of him, and I'm sure we'll get more and more out of him. He already looks pretty scary, man. Every other game that he's starting, he's scoring.
He is someone that really has an eye for really have an eye for what to do in a specific moment. He just for me, what's impressive is that he can turn on a dime. He can just send people falling left, right, and center, and his ability to really pick out a pass in tight situations is very very Ozil Modric like. It was also fun to see Modric basically. There have been so many rumors. You've been reading it, I'm pretty sure, right? Like he is the guy basically bought in to succeed Modric. Like I don't see the similarities really, much, so far. Probably, his defensive side would improve. He'll beef up a bit more. He'll have a lot more to his game, apart from the flashiness. But it was fun to see Modric basically, screaming at him. Basically for probably not laying off the ball. I believe that was in the first half. So there is definitely some in-game training also happening right before our eyes. And yeah, Luka Modric looks to have taken him under his wing and have been kind of mentoring him, and it's great to see. It's another one of the big reasons why Luka deserves renewed. And the less we say about the performance, the better. Again, expected Luka Modric masterclass. Wasn't perfect. Luka Modric in his limited minutes this season hasn't been perfect, anywhere near perfection. But Luka still puts on a show. Do you remember the Hosselu, knockback to him and basically flicked it over the player? Received like
Classic
an
Modric,
applause from applause from the Granada crowd, and got a deserved standing ovation as well. Just he's just unplayable when he gets into rhythm, and I still believe that he has a huge role to play next season. We just saw in the Champions League as well, when he came on, he can decide games on his own single handedly. Thoughts on Modric, Jacob, quickly.
Yeah, man. Apart from the few mistakes that every single player made, it's just I just feel it's not freshness. It's just a lack of concentration. You can only play what's in front of you, and it's understandably
100%.
so. But yeah, he looked magical today. He worked really hard on defense. Came back, helped out the youngsters. Without Modric today, I don't think we can get the win because without these guys, experienced guys, they're just headless chickens running around. These guys need constant guidance, and the coaching staff can only do so much. So it's so huge and important for us to actually keep Modric for next season too. Even when Mbappe or Alphonso Davies comes, we still need these guys.
Assisted Brahim's second goal as well. Decent cutback. It was very 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 cool. All these guys, Brahim, Kamavinga, GÜLER, always they just looked up and wanted to play the ball to Modric. It was basically him acting kind of like a a reflecting surface, basically. Kind of bouncing off Modric's ingenious energy and vision, his tenacity. Modric just is, levels above any of the biggest, biggest ball playing, midfielders in history. Like even guys like Cruz, like for all of Cruz's metronome, mode, and how he can basically change the tempo of a game. For me, Cruz really lacks the magic that Modric brings. For me, Modric will be always a tier above. People would argue that maybe they are completely different midfielders in their own right, where Modric was kind of an SS, then a cam, and then kind of slowly transitioned into an eight towards the latter stage of his career. But so was Cruz. Cruz played as a cam for Bayern. Cruz played as a 10 when he was young as well. But for me, it's Luka, man. Jacob, I don't know about you. Quick thoughts. We are pitting people against each other. It's kind of
Yeah,
controversial,
unnecessarily.
but
This is always an uncomfortable discussion, but I feel like you're right in a
if you,
certain
if
extent.
you, if your life was on the line, and you had to pick one of them, who would you pick?
I pick Cruz, but I get your point,
You
man.
would pick Cruz, yeah.
I,
Okay.
I get your point. Like,
Mm.
if Cruz needs a lot of players and things in his midfield to actually work out, right? He needs defensive cover. He needs players to actually run. Modric
Yeah.
gives all of that. You don't need. You can put Modric in any midfield. You probably come out as winner. That's the difference that Modric brings. The other thing is that Modric is everything we love about football as a kid. You just want the flashiness, you want the intelligent cutbacks, you just see the class oozing out from him. But Tony Kroos, his game is a lot more subtle, as everyone knows.
100%.
Yeah, but
100%. Yeah.
yeah, man. But it's like you said, like it's personal preference at this point. There are different kinds of
Yeah.
players.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What Cruz does always goes under the radar and always will go under the radar. Like me personally, like I never used to talk about Cruz until 2022 when we won the 14th. I never used to talk much about him. Like I was impressed by how he kind of completely made me forget about Xabi Alonso, who I was super depressed about losing out on. But yeah, Modric for me has a special place in my heart. Probably it's because of La Decima. I'll be honest. It's because of La Decima, the decisive corner. Let me get into a few of the comments quickly. Right, Smiley, big up Smiley. He was mentioning Pele couldn't lace Joselu's boots. Joselu 2 goals against New York. It was easy for him. Let's talk about Joselu, Jacob. Right, should have had at least a brace. At least a brace. Yes, people didn't really do him any favors. They were kind of thinking, oh, that's Joselu. Let me go for a collar. Okay, that's Joselu. Let me play in someone on the on the wings. So they weren't really confident in what Joselu could do. Barely got involved in play, but the couple of chances he had, the backfield flick was decent, right? Like kind of
every shot
pulled me
was
out of my
decent. It's
seat.
just like he could do better.
Do you really think every shot was decent? Do you remember the one that he hit straight into the ground and then the keeper saved it?
Yeah.
That was
The
that was a
defender
very
gifted it to him.
lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Thibaut, remember the Thibaut long ball where he was clearly onside. The replay showed he was onside. He was
Man,
inside his
those
own
are
half,
Joselu's
and then
limitations, man. Like he just is not a player who can like absolutely sprint to the ball and then finish it off. He is someone who dwells in the box, and when he gets
yeah.
like 4 or 5 chances, he can actually put in a goal. But luckily, like it was a different version of Joselu that we got in the Bayern game. So
Thank fuck.
thank fuck, yeah. That's exactly my because this is the thing, man, with Joselu. Like we complained about it earlier on in the season because it was way more crucial for him to actually bang in the goals. We were sweating and seeing where would the goal come from, and it was actually Jude who actually bailed us out in those moments. But if
Yeah.
you rely on Joselu to actually nail in those chances or those half chances when it comes, like he's not the guy. He needs 4 or 5 chances, and he only has special days where I don't know, he gets possessed and turns into prime wellness Troy.
Van Nistelrooy and Joselu. Yeah. You have a point. On
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
But like I wouldn't disrespect Joselu in any way. Like I was disappointed. My heart goes out to him because, bro, he might not be here next season, right? Like I really want him. Again, I'm a guy who goes off, heart over brain sometimes, but I really would want Joselu in the side. And we had a conversation again in the Bayern post game where I was very keen in pointing out that he's a type of profile that we don't have. Despite us having Mbappe, Enrique, and Rodrigo, and all these guys, Joselu is a target man that could probably decide some of the games that would be difficult otherwise, right? But yeah, for me, super disappointing that he didn't at least get a goal. But still, he was super happy. You could see he's still glowing. After that Bayern win, and that alone would put him, in the folklore of this great club. 100% deserved. Already has, I think, 9 or 10 goals right throughout the season, or 15 goals all competitions. I'm not sure, but yeah, pretty decent return for someone who was in that highly expected to change games. But Jacob, I guess it's the best time to run the Manscaped ad, big up Manscaped, big up Doris every single time.
Well, already the summer is coming up, and I just wanted to remind you that we partnered up with Manscaped. So go to manscaped.com, use code LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping worldwide. That's code LBR20 at manscaped.com. And just to remind you about the things that they do have on their website that you can use our code on, you can get the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It features a spotlight, a very bright spotlight. Is waterproof, super safe, skin safe technology. You can use it in the shower. There's no way of you cutting yourself. If you get the full package, the 5.0 Ultra package, you also get a nose and ear trimmer, ball deodorant, aftershave, baggies, a cool newspaper, boxers, a bunch of extra equipment. So if you want to maybe get the whole package, but you have a whole variety of products on their website that you can use the code on, LBR20. They got mats for shaving, they got shears like scissors, clippers, boxers, loads, creams, aftershaves, whatever you want, whatever you need, they got it. Also the beard hedgehog, a very high quality trimmer for your beard, a bunch of things. So go to manscaped.com, use code LBR20 at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping worldwide. That's code LBR20 for 20% off and free shipping. Back to the video. Thank you.
Back live.
Big up Manscaped, big up Doris. You heard Doris, LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Go show Manscaped some love. Show us some love, right? Let's get back to the chats. Dovanis was mentioning earlier, how do you feel about Lenny Euro potentially? Like I've seen a few compilations of him. Like I wouldn't claim to have watched him in Liga week in, week out. He seems like a Varane kind of player, has decent ball playing ability, is good with his head, has a knack for goals too. Yeah, I mean he looks like a decent upgrade, or side grade over a 35-year-old Nacho. But although like I've been kind of unimpressed by Nacho's start of the season, the way he's finishing the season, I just want him to stay again. I just want Nacho to stick around for another year, because you see, man, this guy has ice in his veins. Ice in his veins. When the occasion calls for a Nacho, is your man. Like I'm not sure if Lenny Oro or Rafa Marino, whoever else who is regarded as the next big thing, can really step into the heart of defense and does what Nacho does. Nacho has balls of steel. Simple as. Smiley was mentioning Enric will play in cup matches. Yeah, probably. But Rahul says, hey guys, big up Rahul. I hope Atleti is still well and alive. Smiley was mentioning Rodrigo. Rodrigo maybe, Rodrigo would stay. Is Vinny would be the one to leave if anyone going to be leaving.
Vinny
What?
leaving? There is no chance. No chance.
Yeah. Smiley is smoking some potent stuff. Big up Smiley though. Rashid was mentioning Anfield, Chelsea, and PSG should have a Benzema statue. 100%. Zia says, big up panel. Unlike the German club, my Saudi club are the Real Madrid of Saudi champions. Big up Hilal. Cristiano with another trophy-less season. It's funny. I wouldn't wish what Cristiano is doing on the worst enemies out there. I just wish he did really downgrade his whole profile for Saudi. Right, let's get back into some of the conversations we were kind of going through. Right, who should we get to next? Fran Garcia, scorer of the first goal. From the get-go, he was our biggest outlet out wide. like we always know, his delivery isn't great. But when he nails some of them, even today, Hoselu wasn't really around. It fell to the wrong player, but his combination play with everyone involved, especially Brahim, um, Modric, it was very good. Even with Kamavinga, he showed that he can really hold his own. Um, although it's a game that is a dead rubber basically, but Fran just keeps giving me ample evidence of the fact that he is a very reliable deputy. Jacob.
Yeah, man. He feels like he's grown up a bit from the early parts of the season, uh, especially on the defensive side. I'm still not totally convinced on his attacking output, but what he brings to the table. He's super fast.
Yeah.
He can, even if he is not positionally like so great, he can always get back. He combines well. His cutbacks are actually very decent. The only thing is he needs to work on his crosses, his some of his dribbling maybe. He always looks like a very leggy and more faster Mendy, a bit awkward looking.
Really?
Yeah, a bit awkward looking with his dribbling, but those things can get better with time. And I just feel like he just needs to keep getting opportunities. I just hope next season, if the players that we expect that are coming, if he'll absolutely get that chance.
Players who are coming in the sense, right.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be with Fran not being able to defend. That's going to be a death certificate being signed with our own consent. I just hope he isn't part of the the Vinny Mbappe equation, and he is part of a much more balanced setup, down the left. Because just imagine that, Jacob, Mbappe waiting out wide, Vinny waiting out wide, and Fran basically, sandwiching them. It's it's a recipe for disaster. Because just thinking about it gives me a migraine. I just hope.
How is it different when if it's Alphonso Davies? He also likes to really widen the pitch.
I'm not a fan of Alphonso Davies. I've never vouched for Alphonso Davies as the next big signing. Like, I don't really see it. Like, that was his first Champions League goal. That was a banger. I mean, not gonna lie, that was an absolute peach. But yeah, overall, Davis doesn't really fill me with confidence. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, Fran definitely, like you just mentioned, he has. It almost seems like he has matured up a bit, but then again, he's getting fringe appearances here and there, not really necessarily in high stakes matches. But even in games,
I feel like the Real Sociedad game was a bit high stake. Like he had to face off against
100%.
Kubo. He did very decent.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like he's taken a step up from earlier on in the season. Hopefully,
even in the Champions League when he has come on, has really not given me many
headaches.
Heart attacks. Yeah. So that's a step up, clear improvement from the beginning of the season. Then again, for me, the bar was very low with Fran Garcia. But he's slowly growing on me. Not gonna lie, which I didn't clearly see. I wanted him out, but yeah, it looks like he's gonna have a strong argument to continue. Right. Smiley was mentioning rumor has it Camp Nou is building a statue of Benzema. That's why they're renovating the stadium. Right. Rumor has it Benzema lost the league. Big up King Benzema, though. Zero was mentioning. Pick up. Right. Marcus Bellingham says Brahim is a blessing to us, 100%. Brahim has completely won us over. Right. Smiley was mentioning Hostel don't score easy goals. I know my goat. Probably it's a conscious decision, right? Like he wants to make sure that the goals he score in the all white is actually matter and completely highlight worthy, but yeah. FT Mohammadi, big up. FT was mentioning Hostelo's performance deserves an Oscar tonight. How do you go from scoring 2 goals in the span of 120 seconds to not scoring whole game against a relegation side? Yeah.
That's Hostelo.
No comments. No comments. Like I don't wanna beat up Hostelu over a dead rubber game, but yeah, Ashik, kind of balances it out. He says Hossil was an inspiration. He never gave up, went through the ups and downs of a career, never quit on the game or his love for Madrid. Madridista, through and through, 100%, 100%. Right, Kamavinga, Jacob,
Yeah.
again, nasty tackle from who the fuck was it? I forgot his name.
And he got a couple of nasty
Uh,
tackles. It wasn't the only one.
mm, mm,
Yeah, I was genuinely fearful for the safety, especially considering, Chomini is already out. I was closely watching
yeah.
him, making sure he gets out okay. But yeah,
Mhm.
the first half, especially, when the tide was actually against us and they were actually coming out, he was so crucial, putting in the blocks, tracking back, even
So satisfying watching him when tackles. It's just so
yeah,
effortless.
he tackles like a fucking cobra, always gets the ball cleanly, even if the referees don't think so. Like the replays will show that he actually got the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean, most of the times where people roll over when Kamavinga makes a tackle, like I know he has a reputation for being, rash and progressive going into duels, but I used to be like, yo, this guy is very very rash. He's gonna basically give us a hard time in big matches. But then over the years, what I've realized is, when people face off with Kamavinga, he wins the ball in such unexpected situations that all they could do is basically fake contact and roll over
Yep.
and cry for a foul. That's how impressive Kamavinga's ball winning abilities is just insane. And then if you give him the space to run at you, he'll just absolutely make it count. Then again, he just glides, man. Like, how does he have that kind of pace? He just rolls over. Um, every single time where there's space to drive the ball with, he just shows no hesitation. He's like, yeah, like thank you for the invitation. Let me basically up the ante. And yeah, Kamavinga just looks like he has a point to prove, and I really like that. Remember, Jacob, like we didn't expect Kamavinga to be kind of an impact player, right? Beginning of the season, like we knew it would be tightly contested in midfield and whatnot. But him personally, he would be feeling, yeah, like I need to prove myself again. Like why am I coming off the bench and not Joe Mini? So next year is going to be super interesting. How that dynamic is going to go about, and it's again good scouting. Have to thank Juni Kalafat and then the boys in the background, man. Like what they have been doing, what they've been cooking over the last 3-4 years is the reason why we are here. Without Jacob, we should really remember that, thank the stars, count our blessings, how we started the season.
Yep.
And we are in a position to win a double. They have only won a double on 4 other occasions or 6 other occasions throughout our club's history. It just is
A lot of things had to go
crazy.
right, and like I don't think anybody could have foreseen. Like we started watching from the preseason. We were on the watch longs. We were on the post matches. Never at the point like did we feel comfortable, but only after like when we got to December, we actually started believing in this team that we could actually do something.
Yeah. And rarely does teams give us a sense of calm, right? Like this team, like from the get go, like Farouk and me had a huge battle, in the post match he was mentioning. Like I was mentioning, like I really had the faith in the first half of the season because we were playing some crazy football. Like I was obviously unhappy, towards the second half and of the season, but just goes to show, man. Like when a team basically is up against the wall and it has enough characters, enough senior, figures who can give that direction, give that fire some some fuel. You can see what happens, and this season, man. Like I'll truly cherish it, especially because of the odds were absolutely stacked against us. But yeah, big up Kamavinga again. Thibaut Courtois, Jacob. Um, we were talking behind the scenes about Thibaut, and you were telling me that this guy just makes you feel a lot more confident, especially off corners. Talk us through it.
Yeah, man. Like, just remember, like, on both of the legs, like every time Bayern had a corner, like I was pretty. I just it was almost like a penalty to me. Like it could go either way.
Yeah.
That was how it was. We
Remember
never.
City. Remember City.
Holy shit! Yeah.
KTB basically, had only one objective, just test Lunin's ability to, defend in swing in corners.
Yeah, I remember like even in the Sociedad game, he had so many corners to deal with because Sociedad were absolutely bossing us throughout the game. They had so many corners, and every single one of those corners, I actually felt a bit secure, knowing, oh, it's actually Thibaut, and he can actually get the job done. And it was the same today. He didn't have to pull off any unbelievable saves, but he was always solid, always ready to make that save, and keep us
He had a
secure.
fingertip save, right? He made it look a little bit more cinematic, just for the cameras, I think. Could have made it look a little more effortless, but I guess,
Yeah, I just hope, the likes of Betis and whatnot can actually test him, and, we'll get to know his true level right now before we head into the final.
Alaves and Betis. Where is Betis, man? Are they even in the European spots this season? They should be sixth or something, right?
It's 7.
7. So they should still have something to fight for come the end of the season.
Yeah, they're 7th right now.
They're
2 points off of Sociedad at 6th.
Okay. How many spots does La Liga have for
Europa?
the Europa League?
5th and 6th, yeah.
5th and 6th. Okay. So they still have something to play for. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna just have to back what the boys does. Carlo, Francesco, the way what they do. Really have to back them. And it seems like the objective is to get Thibaut back to full fitness, and not gonna blame them. But then again, the kid in me, the Madridista in me really would want Lunin to be given another chance. But yeah, I completely agree, Jacob, that in corners especially, you just can basically go for a walk and come back in complete assurance that Thibaut would hold down the fort and basically make it an easy job for the defenders. I think it transmits, right? Like when your goalkeeper is so assured, super calm in dealing with adversity, especially in a set piece, it gives the defenders lesser things to worry about, right? Nobody, like you've seen Lunin getting basically manhandled during corners, right? They'll be like 2-man basically, because these guys watch a lot of footage, right? Like they'll be going through hours of footage with all those red circles, white circles pointing to different phases in the game. How maybe Lunin lacks concentration, how Lunin would get intimidated. You could see, like even in the City tie, Ruben Dias was trying to basically get Lunin to kiss him at one point. You wouldn't do that to Thibaut. You would require a stool and some to basically get up to his neck and even attempt something like that. So yeah, it just goes to show sometimes just having that presence is all that matters. And apart from that one judo maneuver that Thibaut managed to pull off on that poor guy who almost got knocked out when he tried to punch the ball, I think it was pretty cool, calm, collected. Right. Who else are we missing? Defenders, we spoke about Fran. The rest didn't really have much to do. I don't know why Rudiger even started the game. It's just a mad move, right, Jacob? Rudiger, we should wrap this guy in bubble cloth and save him for June the 1st. But yeah, you could see Jude. Did you see that shot of Jude and Vinny basically asking each other like, how the fuck did Jose score that? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Really funny expression on Jude's face. He tried to look subtle for the camera, but it wasn't really subtle,
but Vinny basically, like tried to, cover his disappointment, putting his head down. But I'm telling you, the Spanish directors are cheeky mofos, man. Not gonna lie, they just know, how to basically cut it up, because it might have happened before, or might have happened real time. We never know. But the way it's kind of put together, it makes you really think. Jude and Vinny had a laugh about Hostilu's attempts to get on the score sheet. But yeah, man, like for the first time in a long time, I saw Carlo being seated, laid back. Um, he deserves it. Deserves every bit of the time he gets to sit down, because man has been chewing through his artillery of gum for the last 7-8 months. He deserves some respite. Um, yeah, man. We have the ability to basically finish on 99 points if we win the rest of the 3 games. Would be the second best point tally in our history. And the Spanish top flight would be some record, especially for the reason what we discussed a few minutes ago, of the numerous challenges we had to face, to kick the season off. And also, I think if we win or go unbeaten in the next 3 games, it'll be the best ever unbeaten streak in La Liga for us. It's already, I think, the best unbeaten streak since 1996 or seven. You know, so yeah, everything points towards a very, very good season. Culmination of a lot of good people's hard work, desire, and will to win. Yeah, Jacob, any final thoughts?
Yeah, just so that we touch upon Carlo, like we had our doubts about him. He was always someone who didn't rotate. He would play players to the ground. But this
Yeah.
season, he has actually given a lot of meaningful minutes to the fringe players. Whenever he could rest these starters, he has done it. So yeah, huge props to him for like managing the squad. I feel like this was the actual difference between us and Bayern, because Bayern had a multitude of injuries. They didn't have anyone to bring off the bench, but we did. And Carlo has to get huge props for that.
100%, 100%. Yeah, the way he has carried a team in terms of rotating minutes, giving people enough minutes to even kind of keep themselves fresh. Like how even during the games where French players started, he made it very, very sure that Vinny got 15 minutes. Here Rodrigo got a few minutes there on the bench. So yeah, immense credit for all those guys, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we get to speak to Francesco in the summer and delve into a potential double winning season. Let's hope. Again, big up the chat, big up the people tuning in on our audio platforms later on as well. The feedback you guys give, I've always mentioned it. What makes this pod great is that we have a two-way conversation. It's lovely to hear your feedback, positive and negative, conversations regarding the game as well. Post it in the comments, send us a DM in the chat if you disagree or agree with something that we say. And the people who make it personal, get abusive, stay away. The lesser we get to know what your brain tells you to do, the better, man. We are here to have a mature conversation, a healthy conversation about the game, about the club we love. So that's everything that's on our agenda for a given day. Big up our partners, Real Madrid Committee on Instagram. They run a brilliant Instagram Madrid fan page. Go check them out. Pick up Manscaped, as always, for supporting us, for supporting football movements like us, for supporting honest fan movements like us. They have been doing it for many years, and it's an honor to be, working with Manscaped. It has been all throughout 2024. We hope to, continue this collaboration into the summer as well. A huge summer awaits us, especially with with the inevitable arrival of Mbappe. At this point, we will be having some special guests on to speak more about him, get to know him a bit more in depth and whatnot. But yeah, go check out Manscaped LBR20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Pioneers of men's grooming. Yeah, you name a product, they probably have it. One of the widest catalog of in terms of men's grooming products, and also stuff like lingerie, and whatnot. The Manscaped is pretty well respected in the amount of stuff they have for men. and even for women as well. I was surprised they have a decent collection of cosmetics for women as well. The Father's Day is coming up. Perfect excuse to get your dad, your husband, boyfriend, if he's about to be a father. You never know. You're some something from Manscaped, and yeah, man, we would appreciate it. We would appreciate it if you guys do make a purchase. I know we got a few receipts, from some kind listeners, last month. But if you do make a purchase, send us a receipt over DM on Twitter, or on Insta. It'll basically help us, to show Manscaped that you came from us. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, people. Tuesday we have Alavis away, I think, again, or at home. Jacob, I'm not sure, but we'll be back again for the Alavis review and post match. Hopefully, is it away, Jacob?
It's
Do you
at
know?
home.
It's at home, yeah. Okay. So I basically have a big 3 days. My goodness, the Sibella celebrations as well tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled on our socials. We'll be covering it extensively from Madrid. Sid and the boys will be, working around the clock and covering our glorious celebrations, which won't be as big as the one. Hopefully, we'll be having June the 3rd in Madrid, but June the 2nd in Madrid, but. Hopefully, this would kind of will be a nice teaser for what's to come. But until next time, people. Hala Madrid.
Hello, Madrid.